to have.
Yes, Master.
Hey guys, welcome back. As you know, I've gotten back to rewatching the Clone Wars series. Now that I'm finally back on Netflix. Just yesterday, I was finally able to finish Season 2 of the Clone Wars. And now I can finally give it hopefully a balanced review. My favorite part about this season was the fact that the production values seemed to be higher and the characters seemed a little bit more developed, especially the original characters. Ahsoka's still kind of a pain, but she's improving a little bit. And even though Anakin is more likable in this, you can see little touches of darkness here and there that he shows every so often that kind of remind you just where the guy's headed. My favorite character in Season 2 of the Clone Wars is probably still Obi-Wan. The added dimension of having a relationship in the past with Satine definitely added quite a bit to his character. He's just a great Jedi. I really like him. He may be my favorite for the entire series. My least favorite character in Season 2 of Clone Wars is Aurra Sing. Oh my gosh, that woman is cold! Jeez, I have never seen anybody more cold-blooded than her. It makes her probably one of the most menacing bounty hunters I've ever seen in anything Star Wars. I mean, anything Star Wars. I actually felt more sympathy for young Boba Fett, because in the season finale, we get to see he still has a little bit of humanity in him. He still has a heart, and that adds a little bit more dimension to the character. My favorite episode in Season 2 is... that's a toss-up. The whole Mandalore arc is probably the most enjoyable to watch, especially episode 14, Duchess of Mandalore, because it's got everything in there. It's got action, suspense, political intrigue, a little bit of romance in there, which I really like. I mean, the chemistry between Satine and Obi-Wan is so good. I mean, they're almost like... Obi-Wan's got this dry sense of humor and they've got these little barbs going at each other, but they still really care about each other. And I love seeing that. And I hate the knowledge of what happens to Satine either in, I think it's Season 3 or Season 4. I don't remember, but I'm not looking forward to it. I probably won't watch that episode. I'm gonna pick back, oh yes. Least favorite episode from Season 2, hands down, the Zillo Beast. And the Zillo Beast Returns. Why? Why did they put a B-movie monster in Star Wars? I mean, it's bad enough, some of the different things that went on when George was around. That was probably the worst. I hated the thing with the Zillo Beast. That was just... I could only watch that episode once. A few years ago, I had no reason to watch it again. Starting this afternoon, I'm going to pick up where I left off and start rewatching Season 3. There are certain episodes I will not watch for anything. Just to let you know, I'm not going to rewatch anything that has the Night Sisters. Those suckers freak me the heck out. Ugh. And I will touch more on those later. So yeah, I just remembered I have seen most of Season 3, not all of it. I haven't seen any of Season 4, and I definitely have not seen the Lost Missions. But there you go, guys. That's been the Clumsy Jedi's review of Season 2 of the Clone Wars. Coming soon, probably in the next month or so, is going to be my review of Season 3, and then, of course, Season 4, and then the Lost Missions, and then the whole series all together. And I'll probably get more into the TV things, you know, top 10 characters from the TV shows, and bottom 5, and the top 5 musical. You know, I can jump off of the TV series if I ever run out of things to talk about the original trilogy, the prequels, or the sequel trilogy, or just Star Wars as a whole. One more thing before I go. The next Star Wars Celebration, which is a massive Star Wars only convention, held, I think it's like once every 2 years, alternating between the US and sometimes Europe. Once there was even one in Japan. So the last celebration I went to was 11 years ago in 2007. I went for like 4 days, and I had an absolute blast, made friends that most of whom I haven't seen since, and I miss all of them terribly. I was hoping to go to Celebration Anaheim a couple years ago, but that didn't work out. I was still living in California then, so that was like, torture. The next celebration has been announced, and this one is going to be in Chicago. I was kind of hoping to save up my money and go to Celebration, but apparently things are starting to sell out already. Hotels are being snapped up right and left, even though everything in Chicago costs an arm and a leg. The costs out there are almost as bad as New York City. And while I would love to revisit the city of Chicago someday, not, outskirts, just the big city, and not go out after dark, that kind of thing. Well, I'd love to revisit. To be able to save up enough money, first of all, for the passes, which I cannot get immediately. They're not available until next month, and they're probably going to be like $300. I was like, ouch, that was bad. I spent like $150 for my passes for Celebration 4. But yeah, and everything getting snapped up, and then figuring out transportation. A train goes right there, so that part would be pretty simple. But the cost of those tickets, it would take over $1,500, no kidding, for me to be able to go to Celebration. And unless a miracle happens and I get a job in the next month or so where I can actually plan ahead for vacation time, if I could get that much vacation time, there is no way in heck I'm going to Celebration. So drop that idea right now. Don't ask about it. Please don't even mention it. I'll probably be sitting at home eating some sort of junk food while watching the live stream on StarWars.com. However, speaking of conventions, there is a convention every year in Salt Lake City. I wanted to go last year, but we just moved here in August, so I couldn't go to a convention in September because I was broke. And I didn't have any way to get there. I didn't know anybody yet. But this year, I'm hoping I can go. It's been called Salt Lake City Comic Con, but they got sued by Comic Con International because like, we're the only ones. Anyway, big, long story. Short story is now it's called Fan X Salt Lake City Comic Convention. Long name, basically the same thing. It's a comic convention. They've got guests from all different genres showing up. This year they've even got Chuck Norris showing up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the autograph I'd want to get. I haven't seen any Star Wars guests yet, but there's usually someone who shows up, even if it's just an Ewok or a droid builder or Jabba's left hand. You know what I mean? There's usually somebody from Star Wars who shows up. And the local Rebel base, Rogue base, always has a booth there. They're asking people about who's volunteering, and it's in September. The prices are low enough and it's close enough that I might be able to do this. I'm really, really hoping I can. If I'm going, I will let you know by the end of July. If not, I'm just going to be, I won't say another word about it if I cannot go. So we've got that coming up. I really, really hope I can go. I haven't been to a convention in 11 years. I want to go there, just show up, cosplay, and have a blast, not buy anything, but, just have a good time. Just enjoy the company of fellow fans. But I'm sorry for the long-winded explanation of conventions coming up, but I thought I should mention that while it's on my mind. Countdown to Solo continues tomorrow. But until then, this is the Clumsy Jedi signing off. Bye, guys.